Hey, mamas, it's your girl, Carrie, and welcome back to another episode of Mom Life, Career Life. Today, we are talking about something I come back to every single January, not because it's trendy, but because it actually works. It's simple, it's powerful, and it's been one of the biggest tools that I've used over the years to help me reset, refocus, and realign when life seems to pull me off course. We're talking about choosing a word of the year, and more importantly, how to actually use it. And this isn't about pressure or perfection. It's something that's supposed to be fun. It's about choosing a direction with intention, with clarity, and as always, a whole lot of grace, especially in the seasons when you feel stretched and overwhelmed or really just unsure of your next step. And like I said, you can make it a fun process too. The word you pick should excite you, it should motivate you, it should inspire you, and it should empower you. And if you're in my Facebook community, Work Life Balance for Working Moms, I just dropped a free worksheet in there that's going to help you choose a word that completely resonate to you. So go grab it today. It's waiting for you. And if you're not in the group yet, come join us. Your worksheet will be ready when you are. All right, mamas, let's jump into today's episode. Are you feeling overwhelmed trying to juggle all the many hats you wear as a working mom? Do you want more quality time with your family without distraction of work, time alone to take care of yourself and your needs? Welcome to Mom Wife Career Life. I'm Carrie, a wife, a mom of 3, and a recovering perfectionist. In this podcast, I will teach you how to create balance in your life by implementing healthy habits, organizing your home and your schedule, being so intentional with your time and in your relationships, and most importantly, how to start putting your needs first because no one can pour from an empty cup. Grab that second cup of coffee, or if you're anything like me, your third. It's time to dive into today's episode of Mom Wife Career Life. If you've been around here for a while, you know that I absolutely love goal setting. But here's what I've learned over the years, especially as a working mom. Goals are great, plans are very helpful, but what most moms are missing, it's not motivation, it's alignment. And that's where a word of the year really comes into play. I like to tell my clients that your word of the year is almost like a guiding filter for how you decide to show up, especially when the days are hard. Think of it as your anchor when life feels completely chaotic, your reminder when you feel like you're getting pulled in a million different directions, your permission slip to say yes to what matters and no to what doesn't. And here's the big shift I really want you to hear today. Your word of the year isn't about who you should become. It's about who you want to show up as, which has been the common theme on the podcast over the last couple of months. Because as moms, we tend to get so lost in the busy, and what we really need is clarity, intention, and something that really brings us back to ourselves. So I wanted to walk you through a simple, realistic process on how to choose a word, one that actually fits your real life as a working mom. So grab a pen and paper if you can, or just listen now and come back to this later when you have a quiet moment, if you ever get a quiet moment. But the first step is look back without judgment, because before we rush ahead, we really need to pause and reflect. I want you to ask yourself these 3 questions. Where did I feel the most drained last year? Where did I feel the most aligned? What season stretched me the most? And please, again, do this with grace. This isn't about beating yourself up. It's about noticing your patterns, but with compassion. Maybe you realized you felt most drained during the weeks when work deadlines were really heavy and your kids' schedules were completely packed and you were trying to hold it together without asking for help. But then you noticed you felt the most aligned on the slower weekends, during morning routines when your kids were in bed and you didn't feel so rushed, or on the days you protected your evenings and actually unplugged. That contrast is what matters. That's what we want to focus on. Not so that you can criticize yourself for the hard seasons, but so that you can recognize what supports you and what slowly depletes you. Because awareness isn't about blame, it's about clarity. And clarity is what allows your word of the year to help guide you instead of pushing you harder. Step 2, identify the pattern, not the problem. So instead of asking, what did I do wrong? Ask, was I overcommitted? Was I saying yes when I really wanted to say no? Was I running on empty and calling it productivity? I know so many moms that do that. Your word should address the pattern, not punish the behavior. For example, let's say every year you set a goal to be more organized. I know so many moms do that. That's always my goal. But by March, your calendar is overflowing, your patience is thin, and you're wondering why nothing stuck again. And the problem isn't that you failed. The pattern might be that you keep overloading your schedule, you're ignoring your energy, you're compulsively buying things for your house that you don't really need or asking yourself, where am I going to put this? So instead of choosing a word like discipline that can sometimes make you feel guilty when you think about it, you might choose a word like margin or simplify or align, because what you actually need isn't more willpower, it's more space. That's how your word of the year becomes supportive instead of punishing. Step 3, decide how you want life to feel. Now, this is a question that most moms skip. but it's really so important. I want you to ask yourself, how do I want my life to feel this year? How do I want to make decisions? What do I want more of and what needs to go? So the words that might start coming up for this are intentional, grounded, present, aligned, confident. I want you to write them down and I don't want you to overthink them. Step 4 is pressure testing the word. And this step is absolutely huge. I want you to take your top 3 words and ask yourself, when I think of this word, does it help me protect my time? Does it support my health, my marriage, my parenting? Will this word still matter on a random Tuesday night when everything just feels hard and you feel overwhelmed? If it makes you feel supportive and not stressful, you're definitely on the right track. So, for example, let's say one of the words is hustle. At first, it might sound motivating, especially if you want to start getting a side income and build a business. But pressure test it on a random Tuesday night when you're running late at work, when your kids are having a meltdown, when dinner plans fall apart and you're exhausted. Does hustle help you make better decisions? Or is it quietly telling you to push through, stay up later, and ignore what your body and family are asking for? Now, I want you to compare that word to words like protect or steady or enough. On that same Tuesday night, those are the words that might guide you to shut the laptop, order takeout without the guilt, go to bed early, or say no to something that can absolutely wait. That's how you know you've chosen well. Your word of the year shouldn't demand more of you. It should help you choose differently when life gets loud. And the last step is make it functional. Your word isn't just a pretty word for Instagram. It is a tool. Put it in your planner, on your phone wallpaper, on a sticky note, on your desk, on your laptop, and get used to asking yourself, put on that filter. Does this choice align with my word or does it pull me away from it? And I wanted to share my word of the year and why I chose it and how I really use it. This year, my word is elevate. And when I chose the word elevate, it wasn't about doing more or becoming someone I'm not. It's about finally facing my fears and the excuses that I've used to protect myself from that fear. Because if I'm being honest, I've let fear sit in the driver's seat more often than I really want to admit. And I've let excuses ride shotgun. I've had fear of failing, fear of being judged, fear of actually being seen, fear of taking the next step before I feel ready. And the excuses, they sound responsible, like I don't have the time right now. Let me just wait until things slow down. I just need to be more prepared. Now isn't the right season. And I think we all know what to tell ourselves to justify in our heads why we don't do something that deep down inside we do know is best for us. Like when I see those bag of Tostitos on the counter and I try to tell myself that a handful won't throw me off my diet, and then I end up eating a handful. And then the next thing in my head is, oh, I already ruined my diet for the day. Why not eat the Cheez-Its? You know where I'm going with this one. But when I say I'm choosing Elevate this year, here's what I really mean in my life and in my business. I'm elevating how I manage my time. And this isn't about getting a better planner or a tighter schedule because I'm really good at that. It's about elevating how I value my time and being honest about how I've used busyness as an excuse. And honestly, fear makes you overcommit. Fear makes you say yes when you want to say no. Fear keeps you busy because busy feels safer. And in my business, that looked like staying in planning mode instead of taking action on things. In my life, it looked like trying to do way too many things at once. So elevating my time means choosing intention over that avoidance and using my time to focus on what actually matters. The second is elevating how I care for my health. I had a bit of a scare last year, and this goes deeper than the workouts and the nutrition. It's about me facing the excuses that I told myself. I don't have time to go to PT to get my knee healed. I don't have time to make healthy meals, or I'll start working out next week, or drinking 5 cups of coffee counts as water sometimes too. Those excuses, they felt responsible, but honestly, they slowly drain me. Elevating my health means recognizing that taking care of my body needs to be a priority. The next is elevating how I protect my energy. And I'm pretty good at this one, but for a long time, I did a whole lot of people pleasing and it kept me available to everyone. I had a fear of disappointing other people. I had a fear of being selfish or unhelpful. And I always had the excuse that it's just easier to say yes. But elevating my energy means accepting that ease for other people often came at a cost for myself. So it means keeping those strong boundaries. This next one I struggle with. It means resting my body. I have a very hard time sitting and doing nothing, but it means choosing peace over proving my worth. And that is a big one for ambitious moms. If you're an ambitious mom like me, I hear you, I see you, I feel you. But it goes back to the let them theory. Don't care about what other people think. You know you're good at what you do. Even though you can do it, doesn't mean that you have to do it. And next, it's elevating my mindset, my boundaries, and really how I show up. Because elevating my mindset means I'm no longer going to let fear or those excuses make my decisions. It means speaking up even when my voice is shaky, taking the next step before I feel ready. This is a really big one for me. Or letting myself be seen even when it feels uncomfortable, because growth comes out of discomfort. And in my business, it means pushing through fears of public speaking. That's a big one for me, which everyone's like, how are you afraid to speak in public? You have a podcast. Speaking on a podcast, it's very easy for me. There's no one there. I'm literally just staring at my computing software while I speak into a microphone in an empty room. Getting on a stage with all those eyes looking at me, or on a Zoom with all these people in these boxes, it brings up anxiety for me. That's something that I want to elevate above this year. And in my life, the same thing, choosing growth over comfort. So elevating my boundaries means trusting myself enough to protect what matters, even when it's hard. And elevating how I show up means becoming the version of me who acts in alignment with the life I want, not the fear or all the excuses I've been hiding behind. And I've already started to use this word this year when I'm feeling overwhelmed or stuck, or when fear or anxiety or an excuse starts creeping in. What I literally do is I close my eyes, I take a deep breath, and I say my word quietly in my head, elevate. And in that moment, I'm reminded of why I chose that word. I'm reminded to rise above the discomfort, to choose courage over avoidance, to make decisions from intention and not from fear. It brings me back to the bigger picture, the life I'm trying to build, the woman I'm becoming, and the example I really want to set for my kids. And it doesn't magically make fear disappear. I really wish it did, but it helps me move forward anyway. And if this is hitting close to home for you, you're not alone. Fear and excuses show up for working moms in really sneaky ways. Maybe you're staying in a job that you've outgrown. Maybe you're not pursuing an idea that is just in your head and won't leave you alone. Maybe you're playing small because it feels safer. Maybe you're waiting for permission that you don't actually need. And your word doesn't have to be elevate, but maybe it needs to speak to something that you've been avoiding. The excuses you've been trying to convince yourself aren't true. The version of you that's been quietly waiting for you to choose her. And I just want to say, and I've had to say this to myself too, fear is not a stop sign. And excuses, they're not failures. They're signals that you're standing on the edge of growth. And this year, instead of letting fear and excuses decide for me, I'm choosing to elevate through them. Elevate for me, it's about becoming braver and more honest with myself. And I really want to help you come up with your word for the year. So don't forget to go and grab the worksheet that I created. It's in my Facebook community, Work-Life Balance for Working Moms. The link is in the show notes. But before you go, I want you to remember this. Your word of the year, it isn't a rule. It's a reminder, a way to come back to yourself when life gets loud, a way to choose alignment instead of autopilot mode that we sometimes fall into, a way to live this year with intention, one decision at a time. Sending you so much love and light until next time on Mom Wife Career Life with Carrie Pat. Before you go, if you found this podcast helpful, I would be so grateful if you would take a minute, go on over to iTunes and leave me a review. If you have other stressed out mamas in your life that you feel this podcast could help, take a screenshot of this episode, post it on your Instagram stories and tag me, and let them know that they are not alone and they can create balance in their life too. If there's a topic you'd like me to cover or you just want to connect, DM me on Instagram at mom.wife.career.life or come on over and hang out in our free Facebook community, Work-Life Balance for Working Moms. Sending you so much love and light until next time on Mom Wife Career Life with Carrie Pat.